The 2024 Mitre 10 Mega Masterton New Zealand Cycle Classic will once again see riders from across the world converge on Wairarapa for 5 days of international stage racing. The 37th edition has 15 teams which will compete on the roads around the Winery District before racing the final stage in New Zealand's capital, Wellington. Since its inception in 1988, the tour has seen several champions successfully compete at the highest levels of the sport. These have included the likes of Robbie McEwen, Julian Dean, Richie Port, George Bennett and Corbin Strong. At the end of the week, who will add their name to the illustrious list of winners of New Zealand's only UCI 2.2 sanctioned race. The hot temperatures matched the hot pace set from the start of Stage 2 as the peloton rocketed along at up to 60k an hour towards Martinborough. A trio got clear entering onto the circuit around the Winery Township with a 2-minute advantage. And as the time began to fall over the 9 laps of the 7k circuit, it was Keegan Hornblow of the Couplands team who jumped out of the bunch and rode across to the break before going solo heading into the bell lap. However, the ever-present New Zealand team was firmly on the front, pacing things to perfection to ensure they would lead the bunch kick coming down the finishing straight when it counted. Tour leader Gate dropped off his two teammates Keane Watts and George Jackson with 150 metres to go to allow them to go head-to-head in a tightly fought sprint, with Watts winning for the second consecutive year.
Well, Josh, we've made it to the Queen stage and it's very tight at the top at the moment. This could be the determining stage.
Yeah, I think we see it quite a lot in this race. A break may go on the first day. Yesterday's pretty much always a bunch sprint, and then today really sets the tone for the GC. So it's an exciting day, and I'm sure a lot of teams it's the one that had penciled in all week.
Of course, 12 months ago you took this out. It was your first ever UCI stage. What's been happening over the past 12 months for you?
Yeah, so after that I was fortunate to have the year in Europe with Black Spoke, and then unfortunately that came to an end just near the end of last year. So pretty lucky to have James Canny supporting me and welcoming me back straight into the team, and it's like I never left. So yeah, back with the boys and back in Masterton.
Well, Bailey, the Oxford Edge team there certainly been pretty prominent right from the get-go on this tour.
Yeah, we've actually been nailing it. We've had every day someone in the break, which was the goal, and then I was up there second on the first stage and Josh was 7th yesterday. So yeah, we're pretty happy with how we're going.
So I think it's only a matter of like 20-30 seconds covering the top 30-odd riders in the GC. We expect to see quite a massive shuffle there with the GC over the hills today?
Yeah, I think so. It'll be hard. It'll be interesting to see how it's raced, whether they go hard early or just leave it to the last climb, but definitely it's going to be a shuffle up the top. Yeah.
Well, it's fantastic to have here a team full of the riders from the Netherlands, and Bart joining us here to speak a little bit about the experience. The global cycling team, Bart, can you tell us a bit about how that's come to be?
I think it's like the team is over like 25 years old, and it came out of like enthusiasm out of cycling. So guys really enjoy riding bikes and riding bikes in races, and then figured out like we really enjoy going abroad and experience a lot of stuff as well. And so 25 years ago, some guys, pretty much same guys as us, like enjoying everything, started it up, and it began going on ever since. And they did like heaps of races already in Australia. I think they never rode New Zealand, so I think that's a new one for us. But we've been all over the world, and now we're here.
And how's the experience been for the team so far?
Well, it's pretty good. We are. The thing is, we're coming out of like 5 degrees back home in the Netherlands, and it's been raining for 2 months, I think. So it's interesting, but we are impressed by the quality of the peloton. Because sometimes we head to countries and then it's complete chaos, but it's like full on, and it's like there are 90 guys in the race and like 60 of them going really, really fast, and so you have to adjust to the speed, especially coming out of training in the winter, and like the season have to start up for us as well. So yeah, but it's going good, and we had a fine result yesterday with 6th with Delano, so we're happy with that, and we'll see. We got some guys pretty good uphill today, so we'll see what we can get for the GC.
Well, it's fantastic having you here in New Zealand. All the best for today.
Yeah, fierce. Thanks a lot. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
We're here with Tour Director George Sandoval. And George, 5 nations, 90 riders and 30 degrees in the sunshine here in Masterton. You've got to be pretty pleased with the way things have transpired.
Yeah, we are very pleased and very privileged to have all those riders from different countries coming here for the Mitre 10 Cycle Classic. You don't see this in cycling very often in New Zealand, so we're very privileged and proud of my team of people working today here. So, and the heat is going to be really hard on the riders today, but we've got we're prepared for the condition to help them out as much as we can.
And of course, this has been a defining stage in the tour over the years. I think it's something like the last 10 times, 7 of the overall winners have been determined by this stage.
Yeah, in the past it's been that, whoever wins the Admiral Hill stage go on to win the race the next few days. I changed this a little bit for this year because this stage used to be only on the second to the last day in the past. After today, they got 2 more days of racing, so may change, but I still think that whoever wins the race today, it might go to win the tour.
In an event like this, how is it for our New Zealand young guys developing in that there? Where do you see that sort of sitting in their calendar?
Well, if you look at the background, George Bennett, Hayden Ralston, Corbin Strong, Sam Bewley, all those riders who went to ride the Tour of France, Tour of Spain, win medals at the games or whatever, they all started here. So we help these young guys, New Zealand riders, to race against some of the best riders around the world in their own home. And they see how good they are. And the ones who are really keen, disciplined, and want to carry on, they will. But this is the best way to test yourself. Against these guys who are used to race all around the world.
And finally, of course, we're in Wellington on the last day. It's quite a unique experience for a lot of riders being able to ride in the capital city around Lambton Quay.
Yeah, we are very privileged. The Wellington City Council allowed us to race around Lambton Quay, the Golden Mile. That's the only time that gets closed for a cycle race. We're expecting a lot of people there on the day, and I think the riders really enjoy racing in front of a large crowd. The weather looks like it's going to be really good. We've got some community events. We've got children's races, so hopefully people tune up and have a great fun.
Well, congratulations. It's been a fantastic race so far, and I'm sure it will be over the next few days.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Over 2,700 metres of altitude reached for the 90 riders as they take on 126 kilometres in the Queen stage in this year's tour. Starting in Masterton, riders face the first of the climbs within the first 20 kilometres as they climb Te Whare Hill for the first of 2 ascents. Down the other side, the peloton will reach speeds of up to 100 kilometres per hour before making their way back across to Masterton and restarting the circuit again. On the final circuit, the riders turn onto Admiral's Road with 10k remaining to take on the wall and ultimately the renowned finish at the top of Admiral's Hill. So outstanding conditions here as we leave out of Masterton once again in the neutral section, a full field of 90 riders as the flag is dropped, and it looks like Nick Kirkazoo there of the St George Continental team doing the first little bit of a move, but straight away there's a number of other riders very keen to try and get themselves off the front, and we expect to see this today. As we know, it is the Queen stage. There is a significant amount of climbing, so the guys who don't really back themselves in the climbs will want to try and get themselves off the front, get themselves a reasonable sort of a buffer and hope that they can hold off the chasing peloton rather than sit in there during the day and get done over by some of the big time climbers. And it's James Harvey, a man who in fact took the most combative in this particular stage in the last couple of years. Always keen to go off the front. He's riding this year for the Quality Food Southland team. Great looking kit for those who've been around cycling for a number of years. Of course, that multicolour reminds us of the Mapai team back in the 1980s. And it looks like now he's been joined by one of the Australian riders. And no surprise once again, as we've seen them every single day here. That, of course, is the team Keishi Parkoop, and it looks like it's Bentley Niku Alton who's decided to go off the front. Now, from memory, he may well have actually been with Harvey in the last couple of years on this particular stage. So these two teaming up once again. Yes, they've got 2 separate colours, but they'll work well together here if they're going to secure any dollars, any points on the road. And there's plenty up for grabs for them today, with a couple of hill climbs relatively early on. In fact, they hit here, as we can see, into the first climb of the day, just under 20 kilometres into the stage. So not a long time for the riders to warm up into it, and it is warm out there at the moment, sitting at around 26 degrees here just after 10 o'clock in the morning here on day 3, as these riders start to set themselves up for the first of the King of the Mountains points. So it'll be interesting to see who decides to go for it. No surprise, it's the polka dot jersey as he digs deep into it. White takes it on out there. It looks like one of the Southern Cross Academy riders there who got himself second, and then I think the King of the Mountains teammate might have secured 3rd place. Those guys are very much keen to hold on to that polka dot jersey, and as I said, There are 2 climbs. That is the first of it. They'll come back to it a second time, and then of course the final one at the top of Admiral Hill today here, which will give them extra points as well. Great shot there of the motorbike, giving us a great indication after the first of the climbs of the speed of which these riders will descend on this long descent here of this course. Over 100 kilometers an hour, and it's a tight turn at the bottom of the course. So these riders, they're getting a bit fatigued, but fortunately good conditions will allow them to get around those corners and that pretty smoothly there. As again we see riders still trying to get themselves off the front here and get themselves in an established and a reasonable sort of a break. We've got those 2 riders at this point in time, and then the vast majority, though in saying that, looking at the numbers stretched out along there, we may have lost a few the first time over the hill. And now we see a rider from Pista Corsa. Now this is a great team here from New Zealand, introducing a lot of the young guns from around the country into this sport, well, into this level of the sport, as a bit of a pathway. And they've decided to hit off the front, as it looks like Harvey and Co have been sucked back into the fold. As we head round into the corner here, and we can see now that we've just entered about 30 odd kilometers into the stage. So the feeding zone is opened up. And as we have seen the past 2 days, it is at about that point where we see often riders get themselves off the front as the peloton sits up, often having a nature break, having a feed, and these riders take that opportunity to sneak off the front here. And we can see quite a mix of the different teams being represented here as they make their way through down, as I said, just over 30 kilometers. Campbell Pithy back in the mix once again. He loves going off the front, this man from Couplands here. He's got one of the riders from Rusvello, Ridley, with him as well in the red and white. We haven't seen too much of these guys, so it's great to see them out in front. They're a little bit like the Pista Corsa team. Again, another opportunity to introduce some of our New Zealand riders into this international racing, and it's a great opportunity for these teams and that to bring these riders along into these sort of events. One of the riders also from the United States of America there. You can see the US just on the far side. We'll pick up their numbers and their names in a moment. Elliot Crowther sitting in second wheel at the moment. Here he is, great shot of him here. This is a man formerly of Southland, now based in the United States for a number of years. Recently came back in November, rode the SBS Bank Tour of Southland, and he took out, in a breakaway just like this here, the Queen Stage up the Remarkables. And for those of you know that, the ski field, a very difficult, challenging climb. So interesting to see him once again trying to do the repeat of what he was doing just a few months ago as he's returned back here to New Zealand to contest this tour. And a strong team they are from Quality Food Southland to contest this particular competition. Great aerial shot once again. We can see the yellow jersey hovering there and about a dozen back with his teammates up towards the front. They'll know full well what the time gaps are looking like at the moment, hovering around that minute and a half, sometimes extending out to around 2 minutes. They're not allowing them to go much further here, but these 6 look like they're setting sail here and have decided they're going to work well together as a unit, which is all important, as we've said, every single day here as they roll on through. As I said, great to see one of the riders here from the United States going off the front here with this group. I said they've had a hard few days as they start to line themselves up. That's Brendan Rim of the United States, number 25, sitting there in second wheel as we get themselves ready for the sprint for the Wiz Wireless Sprint Ace, but looking like no one really wanted to contest it. They would have worked it out. They know the points they have, or in particular don't have. It probably wasn't really worth their while. They're really out there for the major honours today, to take out the stage victory. But people like Sir George Jackson here on the front are not interested in allowing that to happen. And he's got Ryan Christensen with him there. And we've got a few of the other teams now starting to make themselves available towards the front here. Canon Cycling have been up there. Team Bridgelane also see their colours towards the forefront along with Mitre Q. They'll allow these guys to sit there for a long time, but eventually try to reel them back in. But they've got to time it well here. It's a challenging course to be able to get it right, as the winds will slowly start to pick up during the day, no doubt, as they traditionally have. And it's now Hayden Strong of Invercargill here, a man that's been based in the States for the last few seasons, riding for the Mitre Q team. He goes on towards the front. The Southern Cross Racing Academy team, you can see Ollie Jones there sitting back at about third or fourth wheel, as we start to approach the next of the KOMs here of Tufaro Hill here, the second time over. And again, same team, different rider will pick up the points here for the Australian combination. And that the team, which is this year signed up as Australia's only track continental team here, and they've performed extremely well. As we see, more efforts going on here with Mitre Q, and it's a lot of effort going on here and stretching them right on out here. But there are certainly the same sort of colours starting to appear towards the front. Logan Curry sitting at about third wheel, the man in the New Zealand squad's colours. They are keeping a very close eye on things as they get another great shot, about 10 back of Aaron Gates. But these guys, now looking at the numbers, we've lost one of the riders as we get to about a 1 minute gap. So they've halved it here, the peloton, as they make their way around. So that group out in front will be starting to try and make some decisions. They'll no doubt be getting the calls as to what's going on in the main peloton, who are looking fairly relaxed. And speaking of relaxed here, George Jackson, the hair is flowing as he cruises on down the straights here with his teammates in tow as they ensure that they try and keep things well and truly under control here today. I mean, Aaron will know full well this is a very tough finish here, and he doesn't want to lose any sort of a time, so they want to ensure that they can just maintain a solid pace. And speaking of solid pace here, it looks like we've got a move going off the front of the actual breakaway itself, and it looked like the Couplands rider. So again, we're seeing some disturbance happening up the front. They were starting to fatigue a little bit. Campbell Pithy has decided he's had enough there, and he's going to try and stretch things on out. That will come back to the riders here in the main peloton. They'll be hearing exactly what's going on as we see two chasers going with them. It looks like Crowther and co trying to get themselves across to Pithy, but he looks like he's set sail and is in solid form there to try and stretch things out as much as possible here. Great shot here of the equipment of these bikes here as these boys push it in. They're now looking for the bins because, as we've said, it's pretty warm out there today. The winds are starting to pick up, making life just that little bit more challenging, potentially going to be a bit of a headwind as they head up towards Admiral's Hill. These guys here are second on the road here after that splintering of that half dozen off the front. But this is the man in solo effort as he's starting to approach around 100k, and you can see in Campbell's face life is getting tough out there on the roads on day 3 here of this New Zealand Cycle Classic. But he continues to build into it there. He's looking for a bit of form as he heads towards the New Zealand Elite Road Nationals in Timaru in a number of weeks' time here. And he said he'll take the opportunity to use this as it cuts down to around 34 seconds. And you can see the body, the temperament of the change of body language there in the group amongst a number of those riders, that the pressure has gone on. They want to get rid of the last challenge as the Canon team comes forward. They've got a couple of the Australians in there and 4 from Japan. They've been regular visitors here on the blue and the white colours there on the left of the screen as we turn and approach the 10k marker here. And it looks like it's Mitre Q on the front. Now, of course, they'll be looking to try and set up Josh Burnett, because Burnett last year took out his first ever UCI stage. He'll be one of the favourites, as we said at the top of the show, interviewing him here, that will want to try and take this on out. And he's got a number of his teammates that have got themselves onto the front. And very quickly, we can see here, as we start to approach the closing stages, a field that is starting to disintegrate. They're looking at each other, no one really putting in any serious sort of challenge here. The hill itself, the wall as they call it, partway up, has done a lot of the serious damage. And very quickly, we're starting to reduce down in size. Team Bridgelane, they are looking serious out there, up to 3 riders in the group here amongst them, trying to control things. Likes of Panisi up there, Elliot Schultz, to name but a few. Zachary Marriage, I think I picked him up in the mix, and they're going to go one after another there and allow the New Zealand team and co to have to do the chasing. Having the numbers makes a massive difference, and it looks like we've also got another couple that have got in there. The tour leader himself, he's got one of his men with Curry. We've also got a number of Southern Cross riders, 3 of them in the mix here as well. Now, this will make life interesting for the team classification as well, because these guys will be opening up some big gaps on there, and we could see a change around there. The under 23, I see a couple of those guys in amongst it there, but not the current leader of that with Heffernan. So we could also see a bit of a switch around as a couple more struggle with a few 100 metres to go, and it looks like the Southlander goes down on the inside. He gets out of the seat to do the Fred Astaire, but all of a sudden the body starts to shut down, and Ollie Jones on the outside challenges the man in yellow, but the man in yellow kicks clear here, and Gate once again takes out another stage, adds it from the day one here, and continues the serious dominance here of the New Zealand track squad team here. They have been absolutely outstanding, taking every single stage, but Aaron Gate timing it to perfection, exploding out of the blocks there with the last 100 odd metres, times it to ensure that he has time to wave to the crowd in celebration with him and his team to take out another stage here in the New Zealand Cycle Classic.
Oh, Aaron, another dominating form by the New Zealand team.
I wasn't really expecting it to go that way this morning, but the guys did a pretty awesome job once again controlling the race for us, and yeah, especially GJ and Kian switching roles from team sprinters to team super domestiques today, with reeling that breakaway back in from the last line works climb into the bottom of Admiral's Hill, and then yeah, plenty of attacks on the climb itself, but it definitely suited me being a headwind up there, so I could just float through the wheels and then save a bit for the final sprint up to the finish line.
And talk us through that last 5K up the climb.
Yeah, it's always one of those ones, this climb, you think you're like nearly there, and then you come around another corner and see 5K to go still, and you're like, but there's that nice little bit of respite, so to speak, as you roll over the steep a bit, the final couple of K before this last little punch up to the line, and then I just had to bide my time and be patient because, yeah, just wait till the right moment, not get jumped, but try and at least, yeah, hold on a gap to the finish line, and luckily I managed to do that.
We're joined here now by the new under-23 leader after an outstanding ride, Finnegan Murphy. Well, congratulations first and foremost. You've got to be pretty stoked with the way things transpired.
Yeah. I knew that we were all pretty close on GC, especially for the under-23, all in the same time. So it was going to be a sprint to the line, and I knew I had a good kick after a climbing stage like that, and it worked out for me well, yeah.
And as we saw the field dwindle, it was actually your team that were one of the key ones that had a number of players at the front.
Yeah, we're close up in Teams GC, and Ollie's right up there in overall.
So we flipped from very undulating terrain today through some very flat terrain tomorrow in Carlton. What are you expecting?
Hopefully not too much wind. Hopefully I can get a few of the boys to help protect the jersey now. But yeah, a day without any wind would be ideal for me.